Let's take a look at the history of Harper's Ferry and John Brown. A lifelong abolitionist, John Brown had never fired a weapon at another person before he traveled to Kansas in the early 1850s, where he participated in the brutal conflict known as Bleeding Kansas. On the night of May 24, 1856, Brown and a group of accomplices raided the cabins of several of their pro-slavery neighbors and brutally murdered 5 men. But that was not enough for Brown. On the night of October 16, 1859, a group of 22 men made their way along a winding road in western Maryland. Led by Brown, their goal was to reach the Federal Armory and Arsenal in Harper's Ferry. After taking the town, the group would march into the mountains to commence a guerrilla war against slavery itself, with the hope of creating an army of the self-liberated that would compel the United States to end the institution once and for all. As word spread about the raid, militia units began to converge on Harper's Ferry. Brown, his remaining men, and his hostages would take refuge in the old Armory engine house, afterward known as John Brown's Fort. There they fired back at the militia and even killed several civilians. During the night of October 17th, a group of U.S. Marines arrived in Harper's Ferry led by no other than Robert E. Lee. The next morning, Lee sent his aide Jeb Stuart to offer Brown a chance to surrender. Brown instead offered a counter-proposal. The Marines would allow him and his raiders safe passage across the river, at which point Brown and his men would release the hostages. Stuart refused and waved his hat, the signal to attack. In the chaos, Private Luke Quinn and several other raiders were killed, and Brown himself was seriously wounded. Brown's raid only lasted 36 hours, but he was soon found guilty of treason against Virginia, conspiring with the slaves to rebel and murder. He was executed on December 2nd, 1859. John Brown's last written words on the day of his execution predicted the Civil War. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed it might be done.